Okay, so why do you think that they weren't making money? It's an interesting thing because you probably could see money coming in, but why do you think that they weren't actually making money?
There was not a lot of transparency for an associate lawyer at that point, so I don't know exactly. I know that there were a number of lawyers who weren't that busy, and so they were, the revenue, the top line was not very strong for them. I know that was not true of me. I'd always worked hard. I was an environmental practice at that time that was going well. And I think a lot of it was just overhead plus utilization was a big problem there, not just because people didn't have enough billable work, but like you had a meeting like every day that was not billable. So a large, time overhead load as well as the money overhead load. And it was just not the culture of that firm somehow. I mean, I think the highest paid partner in the whole firm made about $300,000 in Seattle at that in the early 90s. So it wasn't nothing. But the young partners were making 80,000, which was barely more than I was making as an associate. So it's like, why go to the trouble to be a partner at this firm? And working really hard to make $80,000. So I knew my top line was, 400,000 revenue. And I was like, I get 80 out of that, and I'm taking risk as a partner. So, and the culture was strange, like I said, very top down. I actually had some technology ideas that they squashed, literally. I got an email by mistake that said they wanted to squash it.
So it's interesting. I worked at a firm early on that was not open to ideas. It was all the ideas at the top were the ideas, and no one else's ideas kind of mattered. So, what kind of atmosphere do you think that created for morale for the team? Because that doesn't seem like it's very healthy morale.
Well, I don't know that much about Seattle. And it was as a firm that had recently, where two larger firms had recently merged, one in Portland, one in Seattle. So, that culture was just emerging. I think the Portland culture was probably better. I mean, in Seattle, the Seattle part of the firm was just very old school, and they worked for one of the largest banks in the country, was their major client, and so they had kind of a comfortable client relationship that I think stopped very much of any entrepreneurial feeling about it. And they managed like it was a bank. So
Oh,
uh, it was just very staid, it was very traditional. And yeah, entrepreneurship just had no place there at all. And they could survive that because of who their clients were and the reputation of some of the lawyers.